Hi, it's Rick Jones. Welcome back to United Taste of America. Illinois is yet another state named for a Native American Indian tribe. This was Indian territory explored by the French and then taken over by the English after the French and Indians War in 1763. But the state really grew when an Illinoisan by the name of John Deere invented the steel plow. And this allowed immigrants from all over the world to settle here, including Germans and Swedes. Illinois became the 21st state in the Union in 1818. Illinois is really two states. It's a large rural state with one very, very big exception. And that exception is this city, the city of Chicago, the third largest city in the United States. The foods of Illinois are really the iconic foods of this city, Chicago, with its numerous immigrants that came here to work in the port city along Lake Michigan, in the meatpacking industry, and in other factories. The Italians brought deep dish pizza. They brought chicken Vesuvio and the Italian beef sandwich. The Poles brought dishes like pierogies, and there's a large Mexican-American population here in Chicago with wonderful Latin foods. Chicago is the home of Garrett popcorn, and it's the home of some of the best cinnamon rolls in all the world. But there's one dish that says Chicago, and that's the Chicago hot dog. And I know a wonderful place to try those. It's Portillo's in downtown Chicago. I'm here with Reed O'Neill at Portillo's. You're a native Chicagoan, and there's nothing that says Chicago like Portillo's.
Right? Yeah, no, it's the best. It's definitely a stop to go in the city when you're here in town, and a place to get a good Chicago dog or Italian beef.
Well, this is not the original, but we would consider this, I think, the flagship store now here in downtown Chicago. But Dick Portillo actually started in the suburbs in Villa Park, I think,
That's correct.
with a hot dog cart. And talk about that cart because it's very
Oh yeah,
fascinating.
the infamous doghouse, as we as he called it at first, and it was just a little shack with this fryer, a stove for a boiler for the hot dogs, and then tamales and pops. That's all he had, and then he had a hose connected to the construction site, or not construction site, construction warehouse that he would hook up the hose to and run it all the way to the doghouse to get fresh water. He started with only $1,100 investment, and from there grew it into a big national brand that we're over in 10 states. And it's funny how something that little can grow into a multi-national business.
Well, he really is the story of the American dream. Here's a guy that's raised in Chicago, goes in the Marine Corps right out of high school, comes back with a tiny bit of savings, opens it up, and then builds literally a restaurant empire.
Oh yeah, no, it's unbelievable, and I though I work with Portillo's, I haven't gotten to meet him yet. I do get to work with his son Michael a lot, and it's always a blast to hear fun stories about his father and how he's really innovated the restaurant industry, but also started off with just a simple menu item and wanted to perfect that and grow it into a staple in Chicagoland.
Well, it's interesting. He starts out with hot dogs, and y'all probably sell more hot dogs maybe than anybody in the world, which is pretty crazy. In a town that there's lots of places to buy hot dogs. Chicago is a hot dog town. But you've expanded over the years to what I call Chicago street food. You now have Italian beef, you sell fries and rings. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, no. Of course, always if you go to Portillo's, you gotta get a Chicago style hot dog. But if you want to switch it up a little bit, I recommend the Italian beef. We also have cheeseburgers, and then we have chicken sandwiches too. And then if you want to be on the healthy side, you get a chopped salad. And it's really nice, wide variety of the menu. What I like about it is I never get sick of our food. I can always basically be on rotation. What am I feeling today? Do I want a burger or do I want a hot dog? Do I want a Maxwell Polish or do I want some ribs? Portillo's basically has it all, in my opinion. And to your point, when you think about Chicago, you think about all the good food. And what's nice is you can go to one stop and indulge in everything. So if you do want those cheese fries and onion rings, you can get both.
Well, it's fun walking around downstairs and looking at families where they'd had choices.
Right? Yeah.
And so, some little child, all he wanted was the French fries. Okay, we got the French fries. Somebody else wanted the ribs. We got the ribs. So pretty fascinating. One of the things I noticed in here, high energy, great music on the jukebox. I mean, the classic American soundtrack, a lot of rock and roll, a lot of classic songs. But I also noticed kind of this theme around beer. Talk about this particular location.
Yeah, so this restaurant is so all our Portillos, they are themed, and this is the Prohibition themed restaurant.
Okay.
So you'll see a lot of the old beer ads. This is Chicago, so you got Al Capone and stuff like that, and the mob, doing the bootlegging and the old school stuff that they did back in the day. And it's just I want to say a way to pay respect to the old times, but it's a nice reminder of how things were back in the day. And then it's nice to kind of have a blast in the past and kind of see how Chicago was and how the streets were back then, and how it's nice to incorporate it into the restaurant so you can kind of showcase the fun elements of the city, but also you can keep them alive and remind people of what is Franklin D. Roosevelt right behind us and stuff like that, probably going around downtown with one of the local mayors. So it's just items like that. It's cool to see and, have a reminder and kind of, you may have came inside for a hot dog, but you kind of get a history lesson too.
Oh, you do. And it's interesting. I like a hot dog and a beer.
Right?
There are not many places beside a ballpark that you can get a hot dog and a beer. You can get a great beer here with a hot dog, which I think is really pretty neat too. Also noticed a lot of sports memorabilia. Obviously, I guess Dick and Michael were great sports fans.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, hey, it's Chicago. It's a great sports town, and everybody is a diehard, whether it's Bears, Blackhawks, Bulls, or Cubs, and White Sox. It's a very fun town to be, root for your team. And what's nice is we're able to get some of these artifacts to hang up into the restaurant and showcase and show off. And I know there's plenty of athletes that are diehard Portillo fans and love to come in and get their Italian beef or their Chicago hot dog. We have a current partnership right now with the Chicago Bulls, where we're home of the fourth quarter Franks. So if anytime a opponent, playing the Bulls misses a free throw in the fourth quarter, everybody at the game gets a Chicago-style hot dog. So as you know, it's
everybody's saying miss it, right? It's great.
Miss it. I need that dog to go. I need it for tomorrow. So it's a great little partnership we have with the Bulls. And and to your point, when we have all this memorabilia and fun stuff in the restaurant, it's a nice, it's a great way to, just have the Chicago fans know, hey, this is actually hung up in the Chicago Stadium, or this was Gale Sayles' jersey that he wore. And it's just, awesome fun facts that, we have here at this restaurant.
That's really pretty cool. Well, we're really here, celebrating all the food, but we're about the Chicago style hot dog. There are not many dishes in America named for a city.
Right.
And this, when you say, I want a Chicago dog, no matter where you are, they know exactly what that's all about. So let's go and see how they make it.
Yeah, let's go do it. It's very fun.
So that's a wrap on the great state of Illinois, here at Portillo's with their famous Chicago hot dog. We'll see you next week on United Taste of America.